Um, the challenging part in writing the book is not so much about what I'm going to write because my memories were overflowing. There were so many memories to write about, and just selecting uh, the portions of my life that could, that could make a coherent book was very difficult. What part of my life, what part of my memories I should include in the book? Because there's so many. In the beginning, I thought I would just write about my childhood, but no matter how poetic and interesting my childhood was, uh, for me it was not complete. It was not me. At least there are my life, if yes, three parts: my childhood, including high school years, my youth activism, and then what I am now. I just want to have a picture of that. So I tried to pick some portions of my journals to be included in the book so that I can weave the story. But as I said, it is not the memories. It is not what I'm going to write that is difficult. What is difficult is my lack of confidence. I don't have confidence in my writing skills. Um, I write reports. I write project proposals, usually technical. Um, I write essays, but it's not something, a book that could interest the readers other than yourself. So it was for me. I felt so ashamed to share what I have written, share with others. But I took courage in asking Cindy that I'm looking for a mentor to help me finish a book. So she introduced me to Emerald Blake, and I took some mentoring coaching lessons from her, and I also made my own additional self-study. There are plenty of them in the internet. And the first time I sent my manuscript to Emerald, actually I was so embarrassed about my grammar, embarrassed how I wrote my thoughts. But she encouraged me to continue writing, and so with Cindy. And so I suddenly, not suddenly, but I took courage in asking Carl Gaspar, my longtime friend in Davao City, and showed to him my manuscript, unedited. And when he finished reading, he said, "Very good, Lalay. Why? I am so happy," he said, "you wrote this. And you have to continue writing it. And just don't think about the editorial work. Just write and write until you finish the last chapter. And then you ask Marilyn, also my old former colleague, to edit it." So I started writing, typing it, and just flowing. And then sometimes I rearrange the paragraphs, transfer it to one chapter to the other. And then I sent my manuscript to Len Abisamis. I got a very encouraging reaction from her, but at the same time, some suggestions on how to improve it. Emotionally, it was difficult for me because I was writing events in my life which involved people, friends, and I should be very careful in writing about them. I must be very factual. So I often, most of the time, I review my diary. My diary is very, 18 years old, 19 years old, writing a diary. Sometimes the grammars are full of mistakes, and but the thoughts are there. I can even check the dates, where it happened, how it happened, who were involved. So it really helps me a lot. It really helps me a lot. So the difficulties in writing a book is it is not is that a fiction. Fiction, you can float your ideas, write anything that comes to your mind that would make a very interesting, compelling book. But a memoir is something you have to take into consideration. Should I write the real name of the person, or should I mention the name of the person? So I should be very selective. I also wish that I don't hurt people. And gladly in my life, there are no people that hurt me. My memoir is not something that, an event, or because of someone I became sad, I can become miserable or not. My memoir is something that because of other people, my life is being enriched. And that is an easy part in writing my memoir. Because in my life, I think once or twice only that I experienced painful experience, except the death of my father. But pain in the sense that it is caused by someone else, uh, I am lucky I don't have that. Um, Maybe I experienced pain. It's because it's my own doing, not because of other people. So when I started writing it, I put a lot of names, and then Carl said, you put a lot of names, and then maybe did you ask permission from them? I said, Carl, most of them are already dead. How can I ask them? But then I thought maybe the families would not be happy about if I wrote about them. So when the book is already in the final stage, I started asking people, what do you think? What do you think of this? But it's very encouraging. In fact, some of them, when they heard that I wrote the memoir about this event, they said, you should be sure to include the name of my father. That is the legacy for us, and that is the request from us, heirs of my father. They wanted to mention him. And some said, we have to mention some names because uh, they are unknown, and they did a great, they offered their lives, so they should be mentioned. They are also heroes, maybe unknown heroes. So that's it. That is the most difficult thing I encountered while writing the book. But I also writing, I am someone, I can write about events from my own observation, my own experience. But when it comes to feelings, I am a bit reserved. So Cindy one time told me, Rena, it's just like your marriage to him is just like bumagsak, binagsak mo from langit. Describe a little bit about it, but I am not a romantic type, I mean, my book is not a romance, so I avoided writing about courtship and yeah. But then, aside from Cindy, Carl said the same thing. Why don't you write about your husband? What he did? How did you develop your relationship? I said, well, sure, I will not write about my relationship. That is private for me, personal. But I tried in my I tried in that book describing a little bit about how we developed our relationship, and up to the time that we got married, etc. But um, describing it in a romantic way, I find it difficult to do it. I am very private about that thing. In fact, the truth is, there are some things that I did not include it because I do not like the book to waylay from my idea of describing my hometown, the youth activism, and what we are doing now. I just wanted to portray um, why I am involved in social development, and it is not much about my private lives. I think maybe it's another book in the form of a fiction. Yeah. So that's it. The challenging part is to gain confidence that you can write a book. And if you don't have confidence, ask help from many people, and you will be surprised. There are so many people who are willing to help you, and that's what I did in this book. In fact, now that some friends of mine know that I am writing a book, they come to offer me help. This and this and that. Remind me that you did not mention this name. You have to include it, and then others. Especially Agnes is helping me with the last part of the book, the proofreading and checking the grammar which I missed, and I am really very helpful. I'm very helpful to my editor Len, as a developmental editor. She gave me some structure in my book, how to include, how to rearrange the segments. So that's it, and I think for aspiring writers like me, is to overcome the fear, and that you think that the book will not be bestseller. But I don't also think that my book will become a bestseller. And in the first place, I write it for myself and for my family and closest friend. And of course, I wanted to write a good book so other people will read it, and I hope even a little bit they would like the book, and that is good enough for me.